Good morning once again, Lebo, and as you rightfully mentioned, those bodies were repatriated from Moscow back to South Africa, and we've heard the ministers, Thulas Nxesi and the minister in the presidency, Jeff Gadebe, talk about how important that repatriation process was and is to South Africa. One of our pre-recorded interviews, which we'll play you a little bit later, we spoke to Wakil Marx. Right now, I've got the son of Moses Kotane, who, Mr. Sam Kotane, who has graced us with his presence this morning. He has had a very, very busy time. He was part of that delegation that was led by the Minister of Arts and Culture, Natim Tetwa, to Russia. Mr. Kotane, thank you very much for making time for us. We started this conversation before we went off SABC 2 in talking about the legacy to South Africa. But just very quickly, what does the day mean to both the Kotane family and to the Marx family?
Thanks for having me on the program. I believe today is a very significant moment for both families, in that their repatriation, or the mortal remains of the repatriation of their mortal remains, speaks really to South Africa having achieved freedom and democracy. You will recall that Uncle JB and Malome have been active in South African politics of resistance since the early 30s till their dying days.
Talk to me about just the emotion, because you were part of that party, that group that was part of the exhumation. You've had to deal with it for so many years, but what was that emotional moment when you saw those coffins being taken out of the ground?
The exhumation, to me, spoke to Kotane's and Uncle JB's lifelong work in politics not having been in vain. In that, had this country not achieved freedom in 1994, there was no possibility of having to bring them back. But the fact that we're going through the process of exhumation, repatriation, and reburial really says we have achieved victory over evil.
So did you know that this day would always come?
Frankly, I was outside of this country when President Nelson Mandela, the late president, was inaugurated on the Union buildings. And it seemed like a dream when I saw the likes of Fidel Castro, Yasser Arafat participating in this momentous, historic day in liberating this country. But there you are, that was reality, because some of us thought we'd never see freedom in our lifetime.
Mr. Sam Kotane, thank you very much for your time and sharing your thoughts from a family perspective on what this day means. And as we have been broadcasting throughout the course of this morning, we are at the reception service of the mortal remains of struggle stalwarts Moses Kotane and JB Marx. Let's go back to Lebo, who was busy with the headlines.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Let's continue.